If you've been gardening for a while, you already know that the real magic doesn't happen above ground. It happens beneath your feet. And at the heart of that hidden world are earthworms, quietly transforming your soil day and night. But here's the problem most gardeners run into. You can't force worms to show up. You can't just sprinkle them in and expect them to stay. They're selective, and they only thrive when conditions are right. That's exactly what we're going to fix today. Because once you understand what truly attracts earthworms, and more importantly, how to keep them, you'll unlock a self-sustaining system that feeds your plants better than any store-bought fertilizer ever could. Stay with me, because by the end of this guide, you'll know exactly how to turn your garden into a worm-rich ecosystem that improves itself season after season. Before we dig in, take a second to like this video, share it with a fellow gardener, drop a comment with your experience, and subscribe to Garden Smart for more practical, no-nonsense gardening insights. Now let's get straight into it. Why earthworms are the backbone of healthy soil. Earthworms are more than just helpful, they're foundational. As they move through the soil, they create tunnels that improve aeration and water infiltration. Their constant feeding breaks down organic matter into nutrient-rich castings, which are far more stable and plant-available than raw compost. Over time, this process builds soil structure, increases fertility, and supports beneficial microbes. The key takeaway is simple. If worms are thriving, your soil is thriving. If they're absent, something is off. The first key: feeding worms the right way. Earthworms go where the food is, but not all organic matter works the same way. The goal isn't just to add material, it's to create a steady, balanced food source that encourages ongoing decomposition. So, fresh grass clippings alone can become compacted and anaerobic, producing heat and, honestly, some pretty unpleasant odors that totally repel worms. On the other hand, dry materials like leaves or straw break down way too slowly if you use them by themselves. The sweet spot, really, is a balance between green and brown materials. A consistent ratio of about 3 parts, brown material to 1 part, green material creates, the ideal conditions. Browns provide carbon and structure, while greens supply nitrogen and moisture. Together, they create a slow, steady breakdown that worms just love. In practical terms, this means layering shredded leaves, straw, or even torn cardboard with small amounts of grass clippings or kitchen scraps. Instead of dumping large quantities all at once, add smaller amounts regularly. This keeps the system active without overwhelming it. Another highly effective method is burying kitchen scraps directly into the soil. When you place fruit and vegetable peelings about 6 inches deep, they decompose in a protected environment where worms can access them safely. Rotating these burial spots across your garden encourages worm activity to spread evenly. The second key is creating the perfect habitat. Food alone isn't enough, you know. Worms are actually super sensitive to their environment, especially when it comes to moisture and temperature. Since they breathe through their skin, the soil has to stay consistently moist. If the soil gets too dry, worms will either burrow deeper or, honestly, just leave entirely. But on the flip side, if things get too wet, it can suffocate them by cutting off their oxygen supply. So, the ideal soil condition is one that feels kind of like a wrung-out sponge, damp, but definitely not soggy. Mulching is, honestly, one of the simplest and most effective ways to keep this balance just right. Adding a layer of organic mulch, about 2 to 3 inches thick, really helps regulate temperature, lock in moisture, and protect the soil surface. Stuff like straw, shredded leaves, or even partially finished compost works exceptionally well. In warmer climates, mulch is even more important because it shields the soil from that intense heat. Cooler soil temperatures keep worms active near the surface, where they can find food and keep improving your soil. And hey, watering practices matter too. Deep, less frequent watering encourages moisture to soak several inches down, creating a nice, stable environment. But if you water just a little bit and too often, it only wets the surface and can lead to inconsistent conditions that worms really try to avoid. When you combine balanced organic matter with proper moisture management, something powerful happens. Worms don't just visit, they settle in, reproduce, and expand their population naturally. As their numbers grow, their activity compounds. More tunnels improve soil structure, more castings increase fertility, more microbial life develops alongside them. Over time, your garden becomes easier to manage because the soil starts doing the work for you. This isn't an overnight transformation, but it's a reliable one. Within a few weeks, you'll begin to notice increased worm activity. Within a season, the soil will feel looser, darker, and more alive. Even well-intentioned gardeners can accidentally create conditions that repel worms. Overloading beds with fresh, nitrogen-heavy material can lead to overheating. Leaving soil bare exposes it to drying and temperature extremes. Compacted or waterlogged soil limits oxygen, making it uninhabitable. The solution isn't complexity, it's consistency. Small, regular inputs of organic matter, combined with stable moisture and protective mulch, create an environment worms naturally prefer. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require expensive inputs or complicated systems. You're simply working with the natural processes and guiding them in the right direction. Start by adding a mix of shredded leaves and a small amount of green material to your beds. Keep the soil covered with mulch, water deeply enough to maintain even moisture. Bury kitchen scraps in different spots to spread activity. Stick with these habits, and you'll build a thriving underground ecosystem that continues to improve year after year. If this guide helped you see your garden in a new way, make sure to subscribe to Garden Smart, share this with someone who's serious about improving their soil, and drop a comment with what you're trying in your garden. Healthy soil changes everything, and it starts right beneath your feet.